Can a U.S. president really change how Americans vote? Could Donald Trump, before the 2026 midterms, curb voters' rights or reshape election rules? Here's what's happening. Trump wants major changes to how Americans cast their ballots, from mail-in voting to redistricting maps. But there's a problem. U.S. election laws are mostly controlled by the states, not the White House. So what exactly is Trump trying to do? How much power does he actually have? And what could this mean for the next major election in America? Let's break it down. United States President Donald Trump is pushing to change how Americans vote, and he wants it done before the 2026 midterm elections. But the U.S. Constitution gives states, not the president, control over election management. Despite that, Trump is taking a top-down approach, seeking to influence state policies, redistricting maps, and mail-in voting procedures ahead of next year's polls. Under U.S. law, each state administers its own elections. While Congress can set nationwide standards, the president has limited authority to alter how votes are cast or counted. Still, the Trump administration has launched a series of initiatives aimed at tightening election rules and reshaping the voting process. Moves critics say could undermine access to the ballot box.
We have an executive order for your attention on the very important subject of election integrity. This executive order, this is going to cut down on illegal immigrants on the voter rolls, ensure that the Department of Homeland Security, this executive order instructs the EAC to cut federal funding to states that don't take reasonable steps to secure their election.
At least this will go a long way toward ending it. There are other steps that we will be taking in the coming weeks, and we think we'll be able to end up getting fair elections. Perhaps some people think I shouldn't be complaining because we won in a landslide, but we got to straighten out our election. This country is so sick because of the election, the fake elections and the bad elections, and we're going to straighten it out one way or the other. And it's an honor to sign this one. To sign all of them, but to sign this one is a great honor.
Trump has renewed his long-standing opposition to voting by mail. In August, he said he would sign an executive order to end mail-in ballots, claiming without evidence that they encourage fraud.
Mail-in ballots, you can never have a real democracy with mail-in ballots. And we, as a Republican Party, are going to do everything possible that we get rid of mail-in ballots. We're going to start with an executive order that's being written right now by the best lawyers in the country to end mail-in ballots because they're corrupt. And you know that we're the only country in the world, I believe, I may be wrong, but just about the only country in the world that uses it because of what's happened. Massive fraud all over the place. The other thing we want changed are the machines. For all of the money they spend, it's approximately 10 times more expensive than paper ballots. And paper ballots are very sophisticated with the watermark paper and everything else. We would get secure elections. We'd get much faster results. The machines, I mean, they say we're going to have the results in 2 weeks. With paper ballots, you have the results that night. Most people, many countries use paper ballots. It's the most secure form.
The White House later suggested a legislative route might be possible through coordination with Congress and Republican-led state legislatures. Legal experts say such measures would likely face immediate court challenges, as mail-in voting is governed by state law. Roughly 48 million Americans voted by mail in 2024, a system that has existed since the Civil War. The Department of Justice has requested voter registration records from most states, saying it's part of an effort to identify ineligible voters. Election officials have raised alarms, warning that voter rolls contain sensitive personal data, such as Social Security and driver's license numbers. Maine's Secretary of State Shenna Bellows refused to comply, calling the request a violation of voter privacy. The Justice Department has since sued several states, including Maine, for withholding full access to voter information. The Justice Department is also working with the Department of Homeland Security to identify possible non-citizen voters. But voting rights advocates warn that outdated databases could wrongly target naturalized U.S. citizens. Federal law already prohibits non-citizens from voting in federal elections, and studies show such cases are exceedingly rare. Still, Trump continues to claim, without evidence, that non-citizen voting is widespread. The Trump administration has encouraged Republican governors to redraw congressional maps mid-decade, a move aimed at expanding the party's hold on the U.S. House of Representatives. Texas, Missouri, and North Carolina have already approved new maps that could deliver more Republican seats. Democrats in states like California and Virginia are considering countermeasures to offset those gains. Analysts say these redistricting efforts could shape the balance of power in Congress for years to come. Trump's administration has scaled back the role of the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, or CISA, which was established to safeguard election systems. After CISA confirmed the integrity of the 2020 election, Trump criticized the agency and froze many of its election-related programs. Reports indicate roughly one-third of CISA's staff have left since early 2025, raising concerns about reduced coordination with state officials. Security experts warn that weaker federal support could leave election systems more vulnerable to cyber attacks and disinformation. Several Trump allies who questioned the legitimacy of the 2020 election now hold senior positions overseeing election security and investigations. As the 2026 midterm elections approach, Trump's efforts to reshape the voting process are raising constitutional and legal questions. While the president's powers over state elections are limited, his administration's pressure campaign, from redistricting to mail-in ballot restrictions, could influence how millions of Americans cast their votes. The battle over voting rights is now at the center of America's next major election test.